Well, well, well. What have we here? We have the amazing atheist, TJ, seeing the light. Now, I don't know if it was me talking to him directly on direct message, the multitude of videos I posted about this, the random conversations I've had with other people about race and my views about it, and crime. I don't know if it was the open letter that TJ read from a Black Latin fan of mine, and former fan of TJ's, where he explained to TJ exactly what went down and why he was wrong. I don't know why he called me racist in the first place. I don't know why people have fucked up, fearful, backward ideas about race to start with. I'm beginning to learn that it has a lot to do with character type. And if somebody is guilt-riddled and uncomfortable about the topic of race in general, it's going to manifest itself in other issues. It's a mindset. It's not strictly limited to the issue of race. Now, I say to TJ, I accept your apology. I think it was big of this man. Oh God, resist. Okay. It was big of you, TJ, to do this because you didn't have to. You could have doubled down, you could have tripled down. I mean, it was a half-hearted apology, granted, in the sense that you still find what I said to be questionable, which I'll go over right now. But the fact of the matter is you have an echo chamber that is enormous, and your sycophantic fans would never have demanded this of you or expected it of you. What's the big deal? You called some white guy from Germany a racist. That's just par for the course for a regressive. But you, understanding the poison of this baseless label, understanding the way SJWs like to work, and how people throw out terms like xenophobic, Islamophobic, bigoted, transphobic, shit like that, you somehow connected the dots and realized, oh my God, I am doing what they do. Now, another part of me thinks that maybe you figured it out. Maybe you can now see that I am so clearly not racist that it is embarrassing. A fucking embarrassment. In other words, yeah, the grandson of a famous African musicologist who dedicated his entire life to the preservation and exaltation of black music. Well, sorry, African. Let's go even further back. My grandfather was an African musicologist. He spoke Zulu, Swahili. He went to these tribes. He recorded their music. He documented it. He started the International Library of African Music, ILAM, which still exists today and is run by my uncle, Andrew Tracy, who also dedicated his life to African music and the celebration of African culture, as did my father, who created a Broadway musical with his brother in the 60s and toured around the world for 7 years. The musical was called Wait a Minute, and it was sketch comedy, it was music, traditional music, which my father and uncle were immersed with their entire lives. It was comedy, it was a lot of stuff. They went on the Ed Sullivan Show. Here's my father shaking hands with Ed Sullivan for an extended period of time, very awkward length of time to be touching another hetero man.
We want to congratulate all of you, the Tracys, of course, and the Kendra Lascelles, Michael Martell, April Ulrich, she's the little one with the derby hat on.
That's right.
Sarah Atkinson and Dana Valerie. Be sure if you're going to be in town, go over and see their show at the John Golden. Thank you very much.
So this is English people living in South Africa, studying African music, and this is right before the Beatles went on this show. I don't know if it was before or after, but this is the same period, and we're talking black and white. Here they are doing the gumboot dance. This is where my father met my mother, who was a Broadway actress from New York. They had me in New York. I'm raised in Los Angeles with black people, and I'm raised on hip-hop, and I'm hanging out with the blacks. And I'm a Magic Johnson fan. I'm a Laker fan from Los Angeles who loves hip-hop. And I'm dating a black girl for 3 years in college. Yeah, that guy, who then goes on to make videos uplifting black people and black culture, the rise of black atheism, interviewing black people, talking about the issues, treating them as equals, calling them out for their hideous shit. Oh, and it's hideous. Oh, parts of it are fucking disgraceful. When you have 3% of your population committing 53% of the murders, and you, Patsy, bitch-ass weaklings feel that it's not kosher to address that segment. Oh, fuck you. Yeah. So they didn't see all that. They didn't know all that. They apparently didn't see my mashup video that I spent months working on, blending Snoop Dogg with Bob Marley.
So TJ made a video where he criticized Devon for being racist, and after watching TJ's video, I went ahead and watched Devon's video, and I have to say TJ was dead wrong. I mean, Devon didn't say that black people are less than human. He didn't say that we're intrinsically bad or evil. Now, there are some pretty evil black people. I mean, I've known quite a few. None so evil as those murdering and raping their way through life right now. But yeah, Devon didn't say that we should be enslaved, segregated, stripped of our rights, or anything of the sort. He just pointed out the obvious and true fact that when it comes to crime and black people, we're not doing so good, okay? That's a fact. And when he says we should stop committing so many crimes, it's not racism, it's what's best for everyone, okay?
Or the one I did with Michael Jackson and Jason Derulo, and Nirvana. Of course, it's always Nirvana. You gotta throw Nirvana in there. No, they didn't see it, and they didn't care. Because why? Because, wow, this guy is speaking rather aggressively. Who is he? White? Oh, well, fuck it, he's a racist. Oh, he's from Germany? Well, not really. He lives in Germany. Doesn't matter. Germany, that has Nazi connotations. Let's call him a Nazi. Now, this is fucking shameful, what has happened to me. I stood my ground, however. Did not back down, did not cower. Why? Because that's just who I am. That's my personality type. I don't give a fuck. In case any of you haven't noticed, I consider this to be a hobby, an intellectual pursuit that gives me gratification. It's mind-fapping for me. And you people are stalkers, many of whom I appreciate and am more than happy to entertain. And I'm glad to know. My life, I feel, has been enriched by this hobby of mine. But I'm not here to be famous. I'm not putting my face and duck facing on the video camera. I'm a guy who says shit like video camera because I come from the 80s, where anonymity was seen as a disgraceful cop-out. I will say shit like video cameras, video games. I will make references to Flashdance. That's who I am. And I'm sifting through a jungle of millennial idiots and pussies who are so incapable of facing uncomfortable facts about reality that it boggles the mind. Let's listen to TJ's quasi-apology after his months-long campaign to smear me, character assassinate me, and publicly call me a racist and a KKK member in front of hundreds of thousands of people. Now, in case any of you have never experienced that, it's not pleasant. It's actually quite aggravating, especially when you're not the thing he's saying you are.
But before I get into the meat of Tommy's video, I'd like to make an apology, and that's pretty rare for me. I don't make a lot of apologies, but I'm going to go ahead and make one because I've been called a racist now by Tommy Sotomayor, and I think it's about time that I apologize for calling someone else racist. I called the YouTuber Atheism-is-Unstoppable-for a racist because he said that black people are insanely more criminal than other races and...
Okay, stop. Let's calmly breathe through this. I said black people are insanely more criminal than every other race in America. Yeah. Now, That is completely true. Now, this is interesting because the conversation never really goes anywhere from there. Because I've said this to people a million times. And they'll say, hey, I got you. You said black people are insanely more criminal. Thinking that they've got me on something. Thinking, oh my God, what a scandalously racist thing to say. And then in reply to them, I simply restate the sentence and stare at them and say, what the fuck is wrong or false about this? Black people are insanely more criminal than every other race in America. Now, the only thing that they go to here is the straw man, where they assert that I'm saying every black person, which is so obviously not the case. And that's not what the sentence is. It's, here's a chart. Here, see this? These are the shootings in New York by race. When I see graphs like this, and I understand that this is what is actually happening in the world, one way to interpret this, we have a bunch of different races here. One of these races, one of these things is not like the other, one of these races is committing the crime of shooting people at a rate that is insanely more. Now note, I'm not saying the people are insane. I'm not casting that aspersion. No, I'm saying the amount in which they do this is vastly larger. In other words, it's not good enough to say they do it more. That does not actually reflect just how much more they're doing it. It is an insane amount more. It is a scandalous, inexcusable amount more. Whoever is doing that thing in the middle, do you see that one? Do you see those 3 huge towers looking like some structure from Dubai? Yeah. Whoever that is, I'm going to be against. Let's glance down. Who is it? Oh, it's black people. Wait, oh, you said black people? Did you mean all? Did you mean all, Devin? No, I meant the ones that make up that effing chart. The ones that shot people. Those ones. Now let's get super obvious and point out another thing. Fuck these Hispanics who are shooting people in New York. They ain't getting off. I see you, Hispanics. That's an absurd number too. Oh, it's awful. And they rape up a storm in New York. Almost as much as black people in New York. Almost as much. So that is ridiculous to all you Puerto Ricans, to all you sharks. That's a reference to the West Side Story. I'm not calling Puerto Ricans sharks. Not all. Not all great whites are Puerto Rican. Here's another point of order. Do you see the Asians and the American Indians and the white people who have been involved in shootings? Yes, the numbers are unbelievably low, almost do not register. I say fuck those people too. Fuck the criminals from those races. Why? Because I'm anti-crime. Oh yeah, I'm kind of like Batman when it comes to that. I look down upon crime and I don't excuse it. Fuck those people and fuck the Second Amendment, by the way. And fuck my fans who are listening to me say that and who are now in a state of cognitive dissonance because they're like, I love this man, Devin Tracy. I love everything he says. I agree with him. I support him. I like him. I Patreon this motherfucker. And yet now he's telling me the Second Amendment is shit. How do I process that? I don't know. Let me brandish my gun and think about it. Fuck those people too. So when I look at a chart like this, and I say a simple-ass statement, which is an analysis of facts like this, and the analysis is that there is a race that commits an insanely larger percentage of crime than every other race, and that race happens to be the black one. However, happens to be makes it seem like it's random and arbitrary. It's not. It's based on reality. Because we counted the number of people who shot people in New York, and it was black people. The reason why that number is the way it is because that is what happened. And that is what happened the year before and the year after. And this chart, by the way, is not per capita. When you add per capita, it makes it worse because there are more white people in New York than there are black. So just know, this is the good version of this chart you're looking at right now. in terms of how it reflects upon the black subculture there.